That's one of the basic challenges that we face, because some of the times when you publish with people like a co-author, the papers are strong enough for them, for their promotion, but as a statistician, it doesn't work for you. So where do you strike a balance when you want to do that? Where are we? Where were we? Proud to what we have now. Now we have more computing power. We can do a lot more stuff. But prior to that, to what we are now, we could only probably do descriptives, isn't it? But now we're doing a whole lot more. Now we're answering questions about why did something happen, about how or when it's going to happen again, or what would happen if something else is tweaked or something else changes. Now we're talking about extreme events, we're talking about weather extremes and all of that. So we couldn't do most of these things before. Now we can monitor, isn't it? Now we can even evaluate, we can make predictions. So we have moved a lot from where we used to be to where we are now. Even now, we're now using automated software to do our data mining, to analyze our data. We do all of that now. So the question is, where do we go from here as statisticians or as global LISA body? What kind of skills do we need to be relevant later? We might be relevant now, but things are moving so fast. What kind of skills? How do we need to evolve so that we can still be relevant to the domain experts going forward from now? And there's no better time than now to start thinking about that, since we're all together here. What kind of models do we want to run in our facilities, in our different LISA labs? You cannot do everything. So I believe that, I personally think that every LISA lab could think of their own niche and see where's your strength. So where you have your strength should be where you have your niche as much as possible, so that you kind of build your expertise and you're the go-to person when that issue comes up. I think that is the way we could go, rather than trying to do all things at the same time, because it stretches us and it spreads us too thin. That's the way I feel. I could be wrong, though. We'll discuss this. So we have some changes that are taking place with us. LISA, I started LISA in 2018. That was when we joined the LISA body. And even in the 4 years, things have changed. When I go to the LISA WhatsApp page, you see so many things happening. Please forgive me, but I have learned to live with it. I do not like social media. I would rather not use it, but it's like you feel out of place when you don't use it, but I'm not a fan of social media. And as somebody says, you're not on Facebook. When I went to the hotel the other time, they were trying to say, can you check us on Facebook? I said, I'm sorry, I'm not on Facebook. I just face my books. All right. So you will see that with time, there's more focus. There's more focus of statistics in academic and also non-academic domains. So we're not going to just function where we feel comfortable. Most of us are in academia. A few of us will be in research centers. But you're being stretched and being pulled into non-academic research domains more often than not these days. And you also will see that we have to move, like Eric was saying on the second day, that we seem to have to move from consulting to more of what? Collaboration. They want to collaborate. They want you to have a kind of ownership of what you're doing with them, not just some kind of reference board when you're working with them. They want you to collaborate with them. And then we need to build, you see that there's a lot more of academia and industry partnerships. What role do we play in that? How do we drive that? How do we drive that? Because no other person is better positioned to do this than the LISA body, to drive to bridge that gap between academia and industry, because we can marry the two, because we can translate from one domain to the other one. We should be able to do that seamlessly. We should build ourselves to the point where we can transit seamlessly. And then we also have at our disposal sophisticated tools. We can do a lot more than we could do before. For instance, some time ago, qualitative data analysis wasn't such a big deal. Now you have so many things you can do with qualitative data. So what's the big problem? What's our goal? What's our goal as LISA? I mean, one man came up with a vision, but so many people are running with this vision. And with time, the vision has evolved as well. So we have to kind of decide what is our goal as LISA, as the global LISA body. So we have to strike a balance on how to increase the quantity and quality of statisticians and data scientists, because we need to help advance high impact research. And our high impact research is of no consequence if it does not translate to decision making, because it's in decision making that you impact the society. I think that's the ultimate, to improve the quality of lives, isn't it? Yes. So what do we need to get there? What do we really have to do? That's my thinking, please. These are personal views. What do we need to do so that we can be engines for development, so that we can get up there, and then we can become a big force to be reckoned with globally? So how do we get there? We need to train the next generation of statisticians. We have to be trained ourselves anyway to start with. We need to build our lab capacity. And that's why I particularly like the TEACH project, because it focuses on building your lab capacity, which was very good for us. We need to focus on that. Then we need to learn how to work with researchers, data producers, and decision makers. I have found that because most of us are in academia, we do not like to engage decision makers who are more often than not politicians. A typical academic person would look down on the politician. But he makes decisions about how things happen for you in your university, in your lab. So we have to cut them. That's my thinking. We have to learn to be social scientists as well. We have to learn to cut them deliberately, because they affect us. And they're the only ones who can translate our research output to policy. They're the only ones. And if we don't connect with them, if we don't have a way of accessing them, of getting them, they don't want your models. They don't want to see your models. They don't want our models. They're not interested in our statistical gymnastics. It makes no sense to them. The politician wants to know, if I put this in this community, how many votes is it likely to translate to when I'm seeking re-election? He's not interested in that. So we also have to learn to think like them and see how we can bring in our statistics to help them make those decisions, even though they might have the wrong motive, but it serves our purpose all the same. Then we also have to teach more of the short courses. I found that teaching short courses actually reaches a lot of people. In our lab, we have focused more on capacity building and advocacy. You see, our experiment was focused on advocacy and capacity building. So how can this be done? How can this be done within our LISA body? We need to be clear about what our mission is. And we need to be clear about what the vision of the global LISA body is. Eric started something. Now so many people are running with it. And I think that sometimes we all have different interpretations of Eric's vision. And we have different interpretations of it, because you have to contextualize it. You have to, there's some things that they would do in maybe CLIDA LISA that would not fly here. So you have to find your own interpretation of it, but nevertheless, we should have a global mission and then global vision statement that we're all running and working towards. And who are our stakeholders? Typical LISAs are in the university. Most of the centers are in the universities or research entities. So you have to work with faculty members. You have to, like he was saying, they come to you when, I don't want to say all hope is lost, but when it seems like they have really hit the wall. And then I had an experience once. There was this lady who came and she had collected our data, and the data collection process was quite wrong. And then she was about to defend her PhD thesis, and somebody had done the analysis for her, and she just brought it to me to look at it. And I was like, I'm not sure you started this very right, because you were trying to generalize to a larger population, but your sampling strategy was purposive. That is not generalizable. So I was like, I don't think you can extend this result. Just put it within the context of which you have done your research. And she said, how do you do it for me such that it will look right? And that day I was not in a very nice mood. And I said, Madam, I'm sorry, we don't do postmortem. Because it's there. I'm very sorry, I wasn't a very nice mood because she kept arguing me about how to make what was wrong fundamentally look right. How do I do that as a statistician? And sometimes I forgot to include that sometimes I expect you to work some magic. Let's be sincere with ourselves, we're not magicians. If it doesn't start right, it's not likely to end up right. If you've collected it wrong, just do the best you can with it and don't make it look like it's the gold standard you have done. So we'll have units within the department or in the university. We should learn to work with NGOs and research centers, international agencies. That's what's brought us all here today, courtesy of Eric and his team. And then we should learn to collaborate with other LISA labs. I was very happy the other time when we could bring somebody from UI LISA, Dr. Alaba, to our female. Yes, I think as much as possible when we have the resources, we should involve other members of the LISA bodies. So I want to quickly share with you some of the ways that we can promote and market our LISA lab. One of that is what we did here in KNUST. The university recruited a lot of staff last year. And for the first time, we haven't had a lot of females in academia, more females than we've ever had in the university. And then we had a meeting with them, an orientation, and most of them indicated, because I was one of the resource persons, indicated that their major challenge is how to handle their data. That they have students that collect data, but most of the time they don't know what to do with it. So I'll get to that later and you'll see how we collaborated with them. We have another collaboration where we train preclinical students. For students in other departments, we train them within the university at a token fee, and I'll get to that very soon. Prof was talking about a very minute token fee. Yeah. And here we had meetings, national meetings. When you have opportunities, try and bring together your colleagues and Jojo and deliberate on how the way forward for statistics and data science in your domain or your country as much as possible. Abu, I think we've had 2 national meetings, right? Yes, we've had 2 national meetings. Right. So what are some of the challenges that I think that most of our LISA labs would be facing or that we presently face? One of the challenges we had, and we still sometimes have, is how your service in LISA is recognized by the university. Because a lot of times they treat it as pro bono. And it doesn't count towards your credit, or does it count as service? Because in academia, you need three areas where you have to work. You have to work in research, in teaching, in research, and community service. And this should go to community service. And what I have been able to do here, what's the letter we got from LISA office, is to persuade here. You have to learn to do some politics, persuade, and now our service in LISA, KNUST, you don't get credit hours for it, but it counts as international service. And that was the reason I brought my provost. Because he sits on that board, the college board. I also sit on that board. So I always push. So most of my colleagues, at least now we have about 3 people who have submitted for associate professorship. They use it as international service. So we have to learn to get some recognition for what we do in our labs. Otherwise, it takes a lot of time. If it doesn't give you some other dividend other than publishing, and there's no guarantee that when you publish with those domain experts, it will be accepted for you. Because they would only look at it and say there's no theoretical contribution, it's simply application. So that's one. So what is the value of the certificates that we will issue? How do we make our certificate have some universal value? I'm very happy there's a committee looking at that already, but we need to look at that. See, so we have to learn how to work and thrive with lean resources. It will never be abundant. I don't think so. I don't think so. There's a saying in my place that says the bigger the head, the bigger the headache. So even if your lab grows bigger, you're going to need more funding. So you have to learn, how do we work with insufficient funding? So what are some of our own unique, few industry collaborations? I already mentioned this. We don't collaborate with industry. It's like I want you to use something, but I don't ask you what you need before I produce the thing. You're not obliged to take it from me when it's produced. But if you are part of the design, if I consulted with you, for instance, you can place our postgraduate students on industry-related problems, and using that, you can get funding for their postgraduate research. Because the company or the industry knows that whatever comes out of it is useful to them. But we have this, I'm sorry, I'm also an academic person. We seem to have this attitude of, I don't want to say inferiority complex. Is there something like superiority complex? Anything like that? I am the something like that. That we think we know it all. We don't know it all. I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody does. What are our own unique challenges? We have managed to overcome this, but I think all of us need to find a way of doing this such that your institution acknowledges your LISA lab, so that your lab is not functioning and alive because the head of department is pro-LISA. But you have to get the labs to the point where whoever is heading your unit, LISA thrives. I mean, LISA exists. And the best way to do that for me, I think, is not hiding LISA under the head of department. Hide LISA under the institution. Once LISA is recognized by your institution, whoever is sitting in that position, LISA will be allowed to exist. LISA might be deprived of support, but LISA will exist. And when another head of department comes, you get better support. I think so. That's my thinking. So I've talked about provision of certificates. I'm happy we will resolve that at this workshop, this symposium. We need to learn to also create opportunities. We have a bit of challenge in creating opportunities for staff exchanging with other networks. None of us has visited any other lab from our center. What we have done is we have collaborated with other non-LISA units where they can visit us, some other academic persons. Somebody just left us last month, a friend from Senegal. He's in extreme value theory. We have some PhD students in extreme value theory. He had money for a travel. He didn't have a one was to go to the United States as well. These are 6 of them, 6 fellowships, sorry. 6 fellowships. And we have had 10 publications. Kim will always send you those lovely emails. Metrics. She keeps you on your toes. So these are some of the ladies. We had them, we trained them twice. That was in 2019. And this is where I was talking about looking outside your institution. You know, NEPA in Nigeria, or Power Holding, right? Power Holding, yeah. So we went to the same organization here. They have an MIS unit. So I discussed with one of their directors. I got to know him. That look, what do you guys do with your data? Then they said, if you want to know what we do with our data, come visit us. Then I went to their head office in Accra, and I went to their MIS center, and I saw that they had a lot of data. They were sitting on a gold mine, and they did virtually nothing with it. So I put together, myself and my guys, my colleagues, we put together a proposal to train them. And then they wanted some training in data analytics. And thank God we can do all things. And then, and how to use Excel. They use Excel a lot, and they wanted to know how to use Excel very well. And we still have a relationship with them. I was in Accra about a few weeks ago. I went to their unit again. Maintain your relationships. Please, when you open the door, make sure you keep peeping on them and saying hello. I was in Accra, I passed by. The department at Ithato always taking a consultant to do their evaluation, their annual evaluation. And they paid 120,000 every year, Ghana cedis. And then this lady here, she's their director. Where is she? This lady here in blue, she's also finished her PhD now. She's their director. She bidded for that same contract. And she says, look, our unit, now we can do it at half that price. So they were working on that when I went there. And they said, good, you have come. Then they started giving me the output. And what does this really mean? We want to use the statistics you taught us. So it's very important to maintain your relationships when you have opened the door with them. I think I have to be here. Oh, there's a slow transition time. And also make use of your institutions. We offered to train some statistics and some preclinical students in optometry and visual science, right? We didn't build them. They're in the same college as us, right? So we only asked, what do you want? We sat down together with them, and this is how much it will cost per head. And of course, the money is coming from our college. And you know, the funny thing is, our college takes 10% of what we got because we are also in the college. But the college paid to us and took their 10%. But they paid to us because it was heavily subsidized. It was just a token, but was token enough to cover our expenses and cover our transportation and a little bit of our effort. Because when the token gets too token, it can be an issue. So this is when we were training those students. And then this is some of the meetings we had here. This was when we had the sustainability development goals, when we came together as statisticians. We got some funding. Abu and I worked together on that. And then we brought our colleagues. That's Christiana. Where's Christiana? She's in the room. Yeah, she's there. That's you, you know. Yes. So we came together in our institution on that LISA lab, and we had to look at our curriculum, and then we broke into several units, cells, so that we could discuss our curriculum. And then we also celebrated the International Statistics Day, the World Statistics Day in 2020, which is this one. And every opportunity we got, we brought together the statisticians and data scientists in Ghana. We did that a lot. And this is our Teach project, which we're working together with Kim. We're collaborating with TREC. TREC is our transportation center for the sub-region. We have a number of World Bank centers in our institution. So we're collaborating with them to train their postgraduate students. And we're partnering with them on their research only. Okay, so they collect the data. We're supposed to work with them to do their analysis. And one of our metrics and indicators is the publications and number of completed theses. So we're working with them on that. And then this is the ladies we worked with just a few weeks ago, right? February? Yes, we worked with them. No, that was April, March, April. February was TREC. We're quite busy, I'm sorry. Sometimes I get mixed up. So these are the ladies. This is the person who was here the other day, the IPO director, because we went to IPO. You are the International Programs Office. We can do this for these ladies. And he said, okay, the previous director was there, then the previous, then he said, bring a proposal. Then we put together a proposal. And then because they're under the office of the Vice Chancellor, and I know she's the first female Vice Chancellor, and we know that she wouldn't say no to this. Not very likely she would say no. Okay, so he was also part of it. And we're able to run it. And they paid us for our transportations, a little bit of compensation for our time, but at least we gave them a budget. And then they provided the meals and every other thing, and the publisher. They took care of the venue and every other thing. We just provided the resource. And then this was our LISA experiment and sustainability experiment. So this is our story. And what we have learned is the importance of engaging and communicating. If people don't know you exist, they will not think about you when they have the issues. So we have to, I don't know, I'm not a social media person, I know, but if you know how to use social media, he gave something about using the tweet and everything. You could use it, please. Communicate the services you provide. Sometimes we also advertise with printer flyers, we just share them. So please communicate and engage. We need to learn to engage outside our comfort zones. We need to learn to engage. We need to build our network. A lot of times we don't have sufficient networks. Lubna she couldn't come, but she sat for us last year as an external examiner. And the student she examined is now a member of parliament. Yes, who happens to be my student. And he's given a national talk, a national event. He's planning that for June on something on finance and economics. And Lubna will come to Ghana as a resource person. And she's agreed to come. So that's one of the ways we have, they're the ones with the money anyway. We don't have money. We don't have money, they have the money. So we have to learn to go where the money is. Yes, we have to learn to go where the money is. I'm content. I'm thinking of even learning to play golf. I hear only rich guys play golf. So it's true, learn to play golf. That's why the decisions are made. I could be wrong, but please learn to play golf if you can. I'm going to learn it. It's never too late to start. Please try and train. Let's train ourselves and let's train our students. We need to focus a lot on training. And how do we sustain our labs? We cannot think about now. We have to learn to think long term. And as your leader of the LISA lab, who is your replacement? Once you occupy that office, you have to groom your replacement. So that if you leave that place and LISA lab dies, you have done no good to LISA. You must groom your replacement. That person must work with you or replacement, a possible replacement. They should work with you. They should understand how the lab runs and how the network works. That's one of the things. Succession plan. You need to have a succession plan. You need to prepare to transfer leadership of your lab. It's very important. You're not going to be there forever. So how can the individual labs be sustained? This is what I think that we will all be discussing today, given these are my own thoughts, and your thoughts could be different from mine. Today, I'm very grateful that you have all come here. I thank Eric Vance for his support. I thank him. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. These are excellent lessons and excellent points that you make, and I hope that we will all keep them in mind when we work on our sustainability plans and when we work on the LISA charter, because these are all issues that are going to be extremely important for every lab. So I know we're running a little short on time. I don't know if anyone has a quick comment or question. Okay, she's going to set up, please.
Rob, thank you very much for your presentation. I think I might make a very simple suggestion or comment concerning you talking about leadership in terms of sustainability of the lab. Fortunately, I can see you are fortunate to, of course, be the head of department, likewise the coordinator as well. So I believe that that recommendation you made is very important.
I was coordinator before head of department.
All right. So at the end of the day, it boils back to leadership. You know, in Africa, when leadership becomes so sweet, see, sometimes people choose to extend their time of office. You see, and I believe that often, in terms of sustainability of LISA, there should be that kind of trend, as you just said, so that every HOD who comes in place would make the system smooth, and then LISA would forever remain in our various institutions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments or?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I was just trying to comment on the succession plan of the list in terms of leadership, that maybe we can think that if someone is a director of a particular statistical lab, maybe the tenure can end maybe for 3 years, so that someone can come in also to lead the lab. I'm sure if all of us can lead the lab as a collaborator, probably to be very sustainable.
Yeah.
I was thinking that way.
Okay. But my thinking is 3 years is rather short for me. My thinking, I could be wrong, please. You see, what I think is that you can spend the first year as an incoming director, right? Then you spend 2 years as a substantive director, and your last year as an outgoing director. So that it overlaps. You and the next person come in, you overlap for at least 1 year. It's my thinking, I could be wrong.
My suggestion regarding the sustainability, since you have given many of everybody has his own suggestion. So my one suggestion will be that since we all know that the name sells, right?
The what?
Name sells.
Themselves, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. If we have a good name of any institution, of any person, that sells.
Yes.
If we could, arrange the talks, from the renowned statisticians or the data scientists, or from the universities of repute around the world, giving lectures, but the lectures will be delivered, since it will be definitely online, but all the stat lab networks will be, it will be for them, or maybe we can go outside for, for the participants also, which are outside the universities, other universities which are not the stat lab in the stat lab network. Right now, the question is where from, because nobody will give us free service, so we need to pay for them, for their service, for their lectures that they will deliver. Maybe once, 2 or 3 lectures in a year. It's not that every month. By that, now the question is where from the money will come, which is the biggest problem with us all. So I think it's a time to repay back to the LISA. We are all a family. If we generate a fund where we can donate as a coordinators, I think we are 40 coordinators, whatever the minimum will be decided. Now, for example, let's assume we have $5, we have to donate $5 per month in that list. So it will be 5 for 20, it will be $200 a month, and it will be $2,400 a year.
You're a good mathematician.
Right? So I think this $2,400 we can utilize to pay to the resource persons who are from the University of Repute, right? We have Stanford, we have Harvard, we have Oxford, whatever this will be person from. Because whenever a person hears the name that Mr. ABC from Stanford or Harvard is going to deliver a lecture, hundreds of participants.
Sure.
So
we can leverage on that to build the image of our labs. Yes.
So this is one suggestion from me, which can, help us in keeping our labs going on.
Thank you. Another thing, just to add to what you're saying, both, what's the name of that university, that college in India? You might probably know them. You remember? Yes, there's a college. It's a bit, I don't want to somersault on it. Something like that. There's a college, yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's that college. They wanted a unit to collaborate with. They have funds.
Yep.
Another thing is look for people who have the money, since we know how to spend for them.
Yep.
So they have the fundings. Yes, and yes. So we've been part of their training. We also serve as resource persons for them to train their students for their research online, and they train our students and our faculty. they're training us presently on data science, and he's coming. Yes, he's interested. He has this money to come. He wants to come and run a workshop. Who are we to say no?
Yeah.
So if he's coming at his own expense, so that I'm just trying to say, and he has a big profile. So if we have people occasionally who are also looking for a destination, and then we can publicize it well and make ourselves available destinations. I think so. That also is the same thing you're saying. I think, yeah, I totally agree with you.
One more suggestion is that we need to keep pace with time. Our students nowadays, because there's a huge market demand in the industry for the students, but the students lack the expertise, because the industry handles the, they generate the big data now. It's not in KBs, it's in GBs, it is in TBs. Right. So we need to produce the human resource, the future statisticians with these skills of handling big data. But unless and until we are not skilled, we are not exposed to such this. So I think there should be in future a training program for maybe a 1 week or 2 weeks for the coordinator, so that we can, teach our students back home, and it will be, they will be equipped with those advanced techniques of handling the big data, and they can go to the market for their
I totally agree with you. You can give what you don't have.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Imran. I appreciate it.
The comments, multiple over here.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Paul, for that beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Now, we that are not basic statistician, I came to recognize.
You that are not what, sorry?
Basic statistician. I'm an applied agriculturalist.
Okay.
People like us that got to know the relevance of statistics even after I've completed my PhD. So I want to speak on their behalf. Now, first of all, I want to thank Eric for the good work done on this vision, most especially the fund that you provided for our general conference. Well, I brought about 18, even my DVC came, my dean of the faculty came, and they now recognize the value of statistics. And that really helped my lab, because they provided me a lot of facilities. They even gave me 20 laptops for training. So now the point I'm driving at is about the succession plan that you mentioned, which is very important. I'm the HOD, I'm a director, and that really has really helped my lab. But when I leave that office, so what's going to happen to the lab? And I want the LISA Global to look at that critically. Probably the established ones, like the UI LISA, the IFE LISA, they should find a point to encourage others. Because if not because of the effort to tell my colleagues in my field that statistics is very important in this field, because most of them have abused the statistical tools a lot. Like you said, even after I finished my PhD, anytime I look at my PhD, I always cover my face, because most of the tools I used was not sound enough. And that's the point I'm driving at. Because you are in the field, the model, beautiful, but when it comes to application, how do you make it a reality? So I'm using this opportunity to tell you about LISA that let us look for a way to bring those that are not here in that field. So it's a plea. And again, Eric, sir, the fund that you provide, I don't know whether it could still come again, because like I said, it has really helped me a lot, and my colleagues in the school. Even my teacher now, they recognize me as someone that is contributing to the development of the university. They even plan to give me a car now.
Oh, that's
yes,
good.
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Because the VC now recognize the lab. There was time he visited my lab, and he brought some minded thing to my lab. I said, okay, Apata, I want you to train. So you could see. So that seed fund that you provided has really helped us a lot. So I'm begging the global LISA again to look into that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Prof. Akwata, thank you so much. But my quick reaction to that is that the succession is very important. You could do that much because you had the heart for that, even though you were not primarily a statistician. So when it becomes the regular succession thing, it could also become abused. When I'm in the lab and I'm already looking for when my tenure will come, even though I'm not very passionate about the job, I'm not ready to sacrifice for it, but I just want to occupy that position. We also have to be very careful. We need to, I don't know, we need to navigate a very narrow path on that one, making sure that the person you are bringing there as a succession or a successor is also going to carry the torch and run with it, and not somebody who is just carrying a title. Yeah, and I'm very happy for you with your university. We only have 2 computers in our lab. In our one small office, I'm serious. You know, right? We have just one small office. I think it's a 10 by 12 or 14 by 16 maximum. And we're so loud. I mean, when people think KNUST-LISA, they expect one huge. Yes, Auntie.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. Yeah, we are privileged to be seated here, and a very thanks go to the team, the LISA team, for organizing this symposium. That's an excellent presentation, and I'm sure we've all learned something from here, so that when we go, we improve on our labs. LISA, we have a very big hall, but struggling to equip it. And I know even as we live here, we will find a way of organizing something so that I'm sure we'll be supported anyway from the LISA team. And as we plan to collaborate with UI and then University of Lagos, I think we started a collaboration from yesterday. And I think when we go back, we'll continue to communicate so that our lab will be very vibrant. We thank you so much, Prof, for making Ghana LISA proud for organizing this special, unique symposium. Thank you very much. And we say, Aiko, well done. Thank you very much, everyone.
But Auntie, please, I just want to say that if peradventure we are given a large facility, we will not be looking at the university to equip it for us. We'll be looking at the telcos. MTN, put your name, paint it yellow. We don't care. Yes, we don't care as long as we have the facility. If it's Vodafone, paint it right. We don't care. We just have the facility. We would rather look at those people, not inside, because here you're not likely to. I don't know about how your place though. We haven't even gotten the room yet, so. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Let's have another round of applause.